Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the GRIPS Forum. My name is Narashige Michita. I teach International Security Affairs at the National Graduate Institute for Policy Studies, or GRIPS, based here in Tokyo. I'll be serving as a moderator and commentator today. The war in Ukraine is still going on. There was another outbreak of conflict in the Middle East. In East Asia, people are concerned about the possible outbreak of a war across the Taiwan Strait. The global balance of power is shifting in favor of rising powers such as China, India, and Turkey. However, the United States remains a world leader. Half of the international assistance to Ukraine comes from the United States. The US Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, is leading the international effort to deal with the situation in Gaza. The United States plays a central role in deterring a war across the Taiwan Strait. Who will win the next US presidential election? What will determine the outcome? And what will happen to the US foreign policy? Today, we have invited Mr. Tatsuhiko Yoshizaki to answer those questions. Mr. Yoshizaki is an economic researcher for the trading company Sojitz Corporation and is a regular commentator on TV Tokyo's News Morning Satellite, or Mosate in Japanese. If you don't watch News Morning Satellite, you should. It's a great program and is aired on Channel 7 between 5:45 and 7:05 a.m. on weekdays. Mr. Yoshizaki is the author of several books on US politics and economy and has served as a visiting fellow at the Brookings Institution in Washington, D.C., and as senior research fellow of the Keizai Doyukai, one of the most influential business organizations in Japan. I'll ask Mr. Yoshizaki to speak for about 45 minutes, and we will open the floor for Q&A and discussion after that. The presentation and discussion in this session will be on the record. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Yoshizaki.
Hi, thank you very much, Michita-sensei, for your kind introduction. So as for Mosate, 3 days later, so coming Thursday is my turn. So please watch the Channel 7 in the very early morning, 5:45. Anyway, thank you very much. So I'm very honored to be here. So today, I will talk about the next US election, presidential election. So that will be held on November 5th, 2024. It's 13 months later. But it is not too early to discuss about the US election because it is very, very important for not only American people, maybe, but also all of us, all over the world. So I'm not a political scientist, just a corporate economist, but I happened to be in Washington, D.C. about 30 years ago. So I was interested in 1992 presidential race. So at that time, American president was George Herbert Walker Bush, who is the 41st president of the United States. At that time, challenger was a Democrat, Arkansas governor, Bill Clinton. So he seemed to be just an underdog. However, he managed to win. So it was a great surprise. So with strategy and personal charm and debate, and with some happenings, so Bill Clinton became the 42nd president. So since then, so observing American presidential race has been my keen interest until now. But I think in the 1990s was good old days because people are not so divided, American politics are not so polarized. Furthermore, American political elite has a consensus or belief that the United States is a superpower and have a duty to lead the world. But next year, may not more. Okay, so now let me start my presentation. So it is highly likely, so next year's Republican challenger will be former President Donald Trump. So I gave a title, Donald Trump Strikes Back. So it sounds like a horror movie. I don't want to watch such a kind of terrible movie. However, it is quite likely scenario. So it means that 2024 is a return match of 2020. In the 19th century, so there was a president, Grover Cleveland. But the Grover Cleveland was defeated by a Republican challenger, Benjamin Harrison, so in 1888. So he was defeated. But 4 years later, he returned to White House. So Grover Cleveland is now regarded as the 22nd and the 24th president in American history. So if Mr. Trump will win next year, so he will be the 45th and 47th president and serve 4 more years since 2025 to 2029. But due to the constitutional constraint, he will no more. Just 8 years is a limit. That's good news, I think. And if Joe Biden win, so re-elected, so he will serve a total 8 years until 2029. But at that time, Mr. Biden will be 86 years old. So this is another horror movie. Okay, so let me introduce you Real Clear Politics. That is a very useful news source for observing American politics. So here is a question. If next year's the election was Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who do you vote for? So that is a question. Wow, this is a quite neck-to-neck competition. And since last month, since September, Mr. Trump has a lead. This is a very, very bad news for Mr. Biden. But as you know, American elections are not decided by popular vote, but electoral college, you know. So each state has electors, and there are 538 electors in the 50 states, and the winner needs to more than 270 electors. That is a system. And the Democrats are living in most urban area, and the Republicans are living more rural area. So it make a Republican has an advantage. So in order to cope with Republican in the electoral college, so Democrats need several percent more in popular vote. So this is a very bad news for Mr. Biden. But this is quite limited information. So let me introduce you another interesting data or real clear politics. So that is betting odds. You know, so this is my conviction. So the people who spend money think more and seriously and practically. So let's see the opinion of the gamblers. So gamblers consider that at the beginning of this year, the front runner was Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. So Ron DeSantis is now number 6 candidate. So his popularity declining, and while Donald Trump gaining power, and now Trump is number 1 candidate. And Joe Biden, it seems to be invincible around the summer. However, so now the second candidate. So interestingly, the third candidate is Gavin Newsom, California governor. Of course, he has not yet declared the running for president. However, so gamblers consider that the most likely person, if something happened on Joe Biden, so California governor could be an alternative. And furthermore, number 4 candidate is Michelle Obama. You know Michelle Obama. So she is not a politician. However, she is very popular among Democratic people, supporters. So she becomes a number 4 candidate. So in most cases, the vice president role is very important. However, Vice President Kamala Harris, the popularity are quite low. She's number 8 candidate. So that is very bad news for Democrats. Now, let me see the Republican competition. So there is a Republican Party's candidate, but Mr. Trump, the popularity is more than half. But let's consider like this. So Mr. Trump is a special person because he is a former president and he has elected the Republican nominee twice, 2016 and 2020. So he is a de facto party leader. And more than that, in year 2016, he gets the vote as much as 63 million votes. And in 2020, he got 74 million votes in general election. So that's a great difference for other candidates. So other 8 candidates, the approval rate are adding up about 35%. So it's a big difference anyway. And the Republican Party has already has an internal debate for August and September. That is a quite interesting discussion. So, for example, Vivek Ramaswamy, so very young venture capitalist, he has made the very interesting argument, such as the support to Ukraine war is not America's national interest. On the other hand, the only female candidate, Nikki Haley, she attacked him. So you know nothing about diplomacy because she is a former UN ambassador. So such kind of argument is very interesting and very will make a difference for next era's America's policy. So we need to catch up. So what is going on in the Republican Party? So, and let me introduce you outside parties movement. So about the think tank. So newly think tank, America First Policy Institute, are established in Texas. And the ASPI, here is ASPI's homepage. And the homepage member, here is Larry Kudlow. He used to be Mr. Trump's economic, national economic advisor. So such a VIP into this ASPI. And they are trying to support the second Trump administration. So now they have making a policy proposal. In their proposal, they are trying to change the environmental policy drastically, and immigration policy. And at the first administration of Mr. Trump, he decided a big tax cut. But the Trump tax cut will be terminated year 2028. So they are trying to be permanent of the Trump tax cut. So that will be the one of the proposal. And another issue, so they are trying to building a conservative LinkedIn. So that is a kind of talent bank. Because when the change of the government in the United States, about 4,000 people, 4,000 political appointees into the government, of which 1,200 people require the Senate confirmation. So there are many people needed to second administration. However, the Republican heavyweight do not want the job to the second Trump administration. So anyway, so they are trying to find a loyal person to Mr. Trump. So in order to make a second administration smoothly. So, such kind of situation reminds me like a Hollywood movie making. So there is a movie star in center, and around he or she, so talented people around it, and the director, producer, scenario writer, and the talented people around the movie star make a great movie. So similar system is in Washington, D.C. That's a think tank. So, if next the second Trump administration start in 2025, its start could be quite a smooth one, not like the first administration. Next, so what if Mr. Trump, the second administration start, how will American foreign policy? This thought experiment was carried out by Walter Russell Mead, who is a very seasoned columnist for Wall Street Journal. So his argument was quite simple. This time, next time, second term Trump's foreign policy more Trumpier, because at the first administration, he was surrounded by foreign policy heavyweight and military big shots. So if you remember the name of Rex Tillerson, James Mattis, McMaster, such kind of people. So such a people sometimes tried to resistance for president, the unpredictable activity. However, next time such kind of people cannot be in the administration. So, and Mr. Trump will hire obedient people, yes men or women. So, so resistance could be from the inside the government, so from a bureaucrat of Pentagon, State Department, Treasury Department, and intelligence society. So Professor Mead said. But, and of course, his foreign policy could be full of surprises, such as withdrawal from NATO or grand bargain with Xi Jinping. Anything can happen. However, Professor Mead's conclusion was a quite a practical one. So foreign people can discount the threat by President Trump, because the United States under Trump would remain polarized. So American policy will shift again in next administration. So don't be afraid too much. So that is his conclusion. However, I don't think so. Even for years, we have to be more prudent anyway. So in this way, so it seems that the American Republican Party is dominant, completely dominated by Trump supporters. However, not necessarily. So I have read a very interesting analysis with Ailes, so who is a Republican pollster. So he said that there are 3 Republicans. So one is always Trumpers. It is about 1/3 the total Republican. So they are true believer. Trump is always right. So nothing can change their mind. And they had already battles with their neighbor Trump family, friend, or neighbors, especially with children. So they are becoming quite defensive. On the other hand, neighbor Trumpers, they are feeling Trump destroyed the GOP, Grand Old Party. So they will decide to vote for Biden if another Biden versus Trump's the election next year. And they truly hope another fresh candidate. And finally, majority is a maybe Trumpers. So maybe Trumpers have voted him for twice. And they are prepared for the third voting. However, they are not confident Mr. Trump can beat Biden. So they are open to another stronger challenger. So Trump's dominance is not necessarily strong. So it may change. So that is, I think, it's an important point. Now, let's see the political schedule next year. So election calendar is like this. So Iowa caucus on January 15th, and the New Hampshire primary, January 22nd. This is a familiar pattern, every 4 years pattern. But next year's pattern is a quite a short run one. So because on March 5th, there is a Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday is on Super Tuesday, as many as 14 states have a same day's primary. So in that days, about 35% of Republican votes will be decided. So it is highly likely on that day, so other candidate will declare retirement. So Trump could be de facto presidential nominee. However, Ron DeSantis, Florida governor, could be resisted a little bit more. However, on March 19th, Florida's primary, maybe he will quit on this day. Anyway, so next March, Mr. Trump's nominee is quite likely. But let me consider other world story. For example, March next year, so there is a Russian presidential election. So how about if Mr. Trump send a support message to Moscow? Could be, it could be. And on May, next May, so Russian president will have an inauguration in Moscow. So how about Mr. Putin invite Mr. Trump to Moscow? It's not a joke. And next April, so in South Korea, they have a general election. That's a very important, the current young president. But in that timing, so how about Mr. Trump make a phone call to Kim Jong-un? This is not a joke. So anything can happen. So since after March, so that is a terrible horror movie. However, the official nominee decided at the July Republican National Convention. So Olympic year is always a presidential year, except the Tokyo Olympics. So after Paris Olympic Games, so Democratic National Convention. And after that, November 5th is the time of the final answer. However, so you may know, so Mr. Trump has many, many troubles. He has 4 criminal indictments to Mr. Trump. So there is 4 indictments, and 2 of which are federal, and 2 of which are states. So that is quite a complicated situation. So this is theoretically speaking. If Mr. Trump becomes president next year, he may pardon himself. And this is not a joke. But maybe he can, because the American president has the right to pardon, to grant a pardon to others. So maybe classified document charge and the January 6th charge are federal. So maybe he can pardon himself. However, I'm not sure. So other case, state's case. Please don't ask me, because this is unprecedented case. No ever former president has a criminal indictment. So I don't know how it will be. And furthermore, so the most important case is that the January 6th charge, I think, because this is the betrayal for American democracy, I think. And the Washington, D.C., the court decided the first trial day, March 4th. The previous day of the Super Tuesday. As for Mr. Trump, this is the interfere. So, because on March 4th, he have to visit as many as states on primaries. So it was impossible because he have to attend the court. But how do you see? Is it fair? I'm not sure. Anyway, so after March, so as many as 4 trials Mr. Trump have to deal. So in this period, so these trials will take resources such as time, money, and legitimacy. So that is a very important resources for a candidate. So, so in my observation, so next year, March, so Mr. Trump can be a nominee of the Republican Party. However, to July's convention, anything may happen. So very unstable day will continue, I guess. Then, how does American people see Mr. Trump's full indictment? So polls taken in this summer was very interesting. So clearly polarized for American people. So Republicans consider Mr. Trump not guilty, but Democrats think he is guilty. Independents about half guilty. So totally about half people considered that Mr. Trump guilty. And how about Justice Department? Is there fair? So majority people considers fair. So these polls told that Mr. Trump is now the whole trials are following because he have to gain the support of Republicans. However, next year he have to get the general vote. So the whole trials are good in primaries for among Republicans. However, but in general election for all over the people. So, so that is, I think, an important point. Now, let's go to Democrat side. So here is President Biden's job approval, quite low, currently around 40%. So this is too low to seek re-election in the historical level. So moreover, he will have a tough days. So currently, so American Congress cannot pass the budget for fiscal year 2024, beginning from October 1st. So now, continuing resolution, that is Tentative budget are now underway, but it will expire on next month 17th, so 1 month later. On the other hand, American House Speaker are not decided for 2 weeks due to the internal conflict within the GOP, Republican Party. So this is not a fault for Mr. Biden. However, next month, so he will have a very tough situation because the government shutdown is likely. And next month, APEC summit is also very important. Asian Pacific countries, the leaders are gathered in San Francisco, and Mr. Biden will be a chairperson. So, and furthermore, he is expecting Xi Jinping, China president, coming to San Francisco, and he will deal with the US-China summit. So that will be very important for the stabilization of the world politics. But Xi Jinping was absent for G20 last month in New Delhi. So next US-China summit possible, that will be next month's very important point. And also next month, we will have COP28, so that is climate change global conference. Mr. Biden will go to Dubai, UAE, I think. So in such a situation, so there is concerns among Democrats. So party leaders believe that they have no choice but to unite under Biden. So if they change candidate this time, the party could split. But ordinary Democratic voters are worrying Mr. Biden's age and vitality. So such a kind of enthusiasm, lack of enthusiasm could lead lower Democratic turnout in 2024. So last month, very famous foreign policy columnist David Ignatius, who is a liberal person, he's a Democrat, on Washington Post sent an article, President Biden should not run again in 2024. He said he appreciates his administration, highly administration. However, he should not seek another term because he cannot stop Mr. Trump. So that's a great crime, I think. Then, so how about, so there is a possibility if Mr. Biden give up the next term. So there is another article about political watcher Charlie Cook. He explains that the odds of Biden stepping aside are less than 20% because he enjoys the job and there are no signs to quit the current job. So, but if change his mind, so it should be early as soon as possible, because several states, including California, big states, have filing dates on November and December. So if Biden quit earlier, so other candidates cannot prepare for their running for president. However, if today Mr. Biden declares that he won't seek the election. Maybe Xi Jinping cancel the trip to the United States. So that will not be acceptable for Mr. Biden. Again, but never say never in political world. So if something happened on Mr. Biden, so who will be alternative? So only two declared opponents. One is Mr. Robert Kennedy Jr. And Robert Kennedy Jr., the approving rate is about 15%. It's quite a high number. And Japan's NHK broadcasting had an interview for him 2021. So the record was on the internet of NHK. So that is about the conspiracy theory of vaccine of COVID-19. He, unfortunately, Mr. Robert Kennedy is a questionable person. However, he's a 15% approval. So that is another reason, another symptom of how Biden is not popular. Anyway, so I have read an interesting article. There is 5 democratic alternatives if something happens. So the article said that the 2 governors, Gavin Newsom of California and Miss Governor Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan. So, however, so it remains to be seen whether the Democrats can unite under a new candidate. Now, let's review a short history of the presidential election here. So there are 2 patterns in American presidential race. So one is the incumbent and the challenger's case. So in this case, so the discussion and debate are quite simple. So a challenger attacks the president, and the president don't behave, don't care. And one more pattern is that when the president finished his terms, and the 2 challengers crashes. So in that case, each candidate have to discuss all over the policy. And the incumbent and challenger's case, so there is a very simple rule. So that is, if economy is good or fair, incumbent wins, because the incumbent has several various advantages. On the other hand, so if economy is in a quite a critical situation, incumbent lose, like 1980, which is great inflation. So President Jimmy Carter lost against Ronald Reagan. And 1992 was a recession year. And at that time, Bill Clinton defeated George Walker Herbert Bush. And 2020 was a year of a pandemic. Maybe we share the bad memories 3 years ago. Anyway, in that year, Mr. Trump lost. Then, what will be next year's economy? So that is a next important issue. As an economist, I have to say, current US economy is in a quite good shape. GDP growth rate is around 2% range, and the unemployment rate and inflation is about 3%. That is not so, no complaint. However, more, so the Fed, Federal Reserve Board, has raised interest rate as much as 5%, so last 1 year and a half. But anyway, inflation is already 3%, and employment is good. So in the economic figures, no problem. But on the other hand, people's mood are quite negative. So prices are soaring, crime is increasing, and strikes are frequent. So not so good mood because, and furthermore, so American people has lost more than 1 million people due to the pandemic. So that has a psychologically negative effect, I think. So in this situation, Mr. Biden started from last July, Bidenomics campaign. I don't think it's a good idea. You know Reaganomics or Abenomics, the famous successful economic policy's name from a politician's name. But there, other people are saying, in Biden's case, he himself called his policy Bidenomics. It's a cool idea. However, what is Bidenomics? The interesting thing is that Mr. Biden saying not in the future tense. So in ordinary, so when people talk about the economic policy, we are going to do something like that. On the other hand, Mr. Biden says, we have done in so many things. So because the last 2 years, big spending plans are decided, and that is a Bidenomics, the achievement. But on the other hand, so please see the GDP growth. So 2021, the first half of 2021, economy overheated. This yellow means that the private consumption, so clearly overheated economy due to the American rescue plan. I think this is an oversized $1.9 trillion. So I suspect that today's inflation was caused by his too much spending. But that is another story. So under Biden administration, CHIPS and Science Act and IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, that is a de facto climate change budget. So on this budget, so he want to appeal to Democratic voters. But on the other hand, there are another possibility. So this is one of the hypotheses. So Bidenomics has a hidden purpose. So that is, I feel very interesting. So because here is the 2020's electoral college. So a very important place, next battlefield is set the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Originally, they are a strong Democratic base. However, in 2060, Mr. Trump gets these states. And 2020, Biden take back. So maybe in 2024, so Trump aimed these states. But on the other hand, so Sun Belt is also important because Georgia and Arizona, originally red states, was in 2020. So Biden get to these two states. And the next year, So now in Arizona, so TSMC, Taiwan's semiconductor company, are investing. So big employment are now underway in Arizona. And Georgia, so there is a battery plant, production plan. And other more, North Carolina. So in 2020, Mr. Trump narrowly gets North Carolina. There is also a big investment, so under Bidenomics. So if Arizona and Georgia and North Carolina go to blue states, if Mr. Trump gets 3 states, he can't win. Quite a seasoned calculation. So one of the possibility. And here is a forecast of which is the battle states. So this is a Cook Political Reports, July 27th rating. So only 4 states are now regarded a toss-up, which is no blue, no red states. So Arizona and Georgia are quite a maybe battle states next year. On the other hand, once regarded the battle state, Florida is now likely Republican, so becoming a red state. On the other hand, Texas, once deep red states, so solid Republican, now likely Republican. So such in this way, every states are moving and fluctuating. So and finally, so American presidential race decided by few states, and finally in a close race in the end, maybe next year. Okay, finally, I'd like to talk my last point. So in my observation, every time technological change is very important. So year 2000, I found internet is very useful because we got fast to candidates' proposal and speech full text are available, even from Japan. And the party platform, that is the policy proposal, maybe very few people has ever read it. But even in Japan, we could read the full text of speech and party platform. So that is 2000. And year 2004, the blog was born. So from that, so candidate can access for supporters directly for every day. So that's a great achievement. So before than that, we can only candidate's voice through media on TV or newspapers. But the internet make it possible, so candidate daily talk with their supporters. But on the other hand, the popularity on the cyber, on the internet are not quite a reliable one. So real world has another impact. That is a study of 2004. As for 2008, so online donation was a great weapon of Mr. Barack Obama. At that time, Mr. Barack Obama was an inexperienced senator, but he could defeat 2 heavyweight senators. One is Hillary Clinton, and one is John McCain. So, of course, Hillary Clinton and John McCain has many millionaire friends. However, Obama's internet donation can gets a countless small amount of money. So that's a great impact on the election. As for 2012 election, so broadband was quite impressive because so at that time we could enjoy the TV commercial clip from Japan. So there are so many great masterpieces so in the commercial film. And 2016, so this year was SNS, Twitter, social network make a great difference for the outcome of the election. I didn't realize Trump can win. So at that time, so I made my own account Twitter, November 2016. And anyway, so 2020 so was a pandemic year. So party convention was a remote program. So that was very surprise for me. Anyway, next year, so we will have another election and we will have another technological innovation. And the technological innovation will have a great influence for the next election. I don't know, so what is that? Maybe AI, ChatGPT, or something like that. Anyway, so next year, the election will have convey us many surprises. So thank you very much.